What's up, guys? It's Lord here, and today we're going to talk about Sega, and we're going to be talking about, I guess you say, game preservation, especially out in the digital market. Fans are quite upset because Sega, once again, had delisted some games from their marketplace, and what could this entail when it comes to these particular titles being removed? So before we even dive into this video, make sure you hit the subscribe button, the notification bell for more gaming content here on this channel. Now, before we even dive into the article, I just want to say that Sega has been one of my favorite companies growing up as a young boy, especially with the Sega Genesis, and Sonic the Hedgehog was like my very first game that I had with my first personal console, which was the Sega Genesis, and I had fell in love with the Sega IP and its properties. And I'll still say to this very day that Dreamcast, the Sega Dreamcast, is one of my favorite consoles of all time. There have yet to be a console that came in to knock that from the very top. I love the Sega Dreamcast. I love the IPs that were included on it, and I just thought that this was going to be the rise of Sega to take the throne, especially back when I was a young man or a young boy who were really into the console wars, at the time growing up. But Sega is no longer the same Sega anymore. They've been changed. A lot of the talent had left, moved on, started creating their own studio. Sega has also acquired a bunch of different companies and merged together. So we'll never get the Sega that we have ever had, back in the day. But after they did that reveal about last year, I believe during the Game Awards, where they showed that they want to bring back a lot of IP, especially during the Sega Dreamcast era. You need to go check the video out where I talked about how Sega wanted to bring back that renegade era of the Dreamcast, moving forward with a lot of their new announcements and bringing back older IP, bringing it into a more up-to-date time period. But Sega still gets its backlash because of some of the things that they stand for, or some of the things that they do as far as their digital library is concerned on these storefronts. So we're going to just dive into this article. I know I blabbed on, but I just wanted to just share my love for the Sega Dreamcast and just Sega in general. So to get into all this, it says, in a blow to retro video game access, Sega to delist dozens of classic titles from virtual storefronts, including Crazy Taxi, Nights into Dreams, and Jet Set Radio. Now, I'm already speculating why they're probably doing this. We already know why. It just sucks to rely on an all digital era because of this. But I think there's another reason that they're probably doing this. So let's move on. In a devastating blow to players' their ability to play retro games, Sega has announced that they will over 70 of their classics titles will soon be delisted from virtual storefronts. Announced via November 6th update to the company official online support site, the eventual enforcement of this decision will see select games and bundles will be delisted from virtual stores, becoming unavailable for new purchases. Set to commence on December 6th at 11:59 PST, the specific titles set to be delisted vary by platform. So guys, you already got the date here. It's December 6th. So if you guys want to go pick up these titles, you better go pick these damn titles up right now to be able to preserve them. So it says, for Nintendo Switch and PlayStation players, 2010 Sega Genesis Collection will be the only title rendered inaccessible. Meanwhile, Xbox players will lose access not only to classic collections, but also Altered Beast, Crazy Taxi, Golden Axe, Monster World, Nights into Dreams, Sega Bass Fishing, Shinobi, Sonic the Fighters, Streets of Rage, SVC, Toe Jam and Earl, and Virtual Fighter 2. It says, however, the worst affected will be Steam players. Of course, the Steam players. Look, everybody goes to Steam to be able to get a hold of these classes. So I kind of expect this is going to happen. So let's go through this list. It says Sega is set to remove a total of 62 titles from Valve's digital storefront. So we have Alex Kidd, Alien Storm, Altered Beast, Beyond Oasis, Biohazard, Battle, Bonanza Bros, Columns. I love Columns. I grew up off of Columns, especially my mom too. My mom and dad used to play, but my mom loved it specifically, especially on the Sega Genesis. And then Columns 3, Comic Zone, Crackdown, Crazy Taxi, Decap Attack, Dr. Robotnik, Mean Bean Machine, Dreamcast Collection Bundle, Dynamite Haiti, Echo Jr., Echo the Dolphin, Echo the Tides of Time, E-SWAT, City Under Siege, Eternal Champions, Fatal Labyrinth, Flicky. Oh my god. I didn't know Flicky was... They had Flicky on the store. If you guys don't know what Flicky is, Flicky is a classic Sega game. You know the animals that Sonic saved outside of the cap when he blows up the capsule at the end of each zone, and you see that little blue bird? Yes, that's a Flicky. Flicky had its own spin-off, and I loved the hell out of that damn game on Sega Genesis. I still have my cartridge. I have it stored away in my basement and everything like that. But that was one of my favorite games. And you had to be Flicky, and you had to collect the little birdies, and you had to watch out for the cats. And as you collect the birds, you put them into the exit, and then each stage, more and more obstacles, more and more cats are added to the stage. That makes collecting the birds a little bit harder for Flicky. And you also have to balance out how you fly across the stage. I loved that game as a kid. So you also have Galaxy Force 2, Game Ground, Golden Axe 1 through 3, Gunstar Heroes, and Jet Set Radio. Damn, Kid Chameleon, Nights into Dreams. The list goes on and on. Just know that. Like, we'll be here all day listening. Luckily, not everything is bleak, as Sega's website promises that while the games will become unavailable for new purchase, all classic games and bundles you own will remain in your library, ready to be downloaded and played at any time. Well, I guess that's a good thing, but it sucks for those who never had the chance to be able to get access to that. That still sucks when it comes to it, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Moreover, those with a Nintendo Switch Online subscription will still be able to play select individual classes through the services included in the Virtual Console. At current, Sega has yet to provide any specific reason behind their mass delist. However, speculation suggests a few possible explanations. Like I said before, and this is what I'm going to say. The only reason why I can see them delisting this is because they want to repackage these games, or they're doing a lot of remakes and a lot of remasters of these upcoming series. So the thing is, these newer games, they're going to be selling at a much higher price and everything. And you also got to keep in mind, because we in this current day, time, and era, when it comes to the modern audience, some of these remasters or even these remakes may not be, it may not live up to the standards of the classics. There may be some censorship. There may be localization, maybe ass and everything like that. And they know that gamers are going to be upset at this. And they will go back, they will rather just go back and play the classics. But you can't go back and play the classics if they remove them from the stores and you can't get access to them. So now you have a revisionist history of these newer versions of these classic games, and you're only able to have access to what Sega and these mega corporations want you to have access to. And that's where the bummer comes in. So the first is the fact is that certain series like Crazy Taxi, Golden Axe, Shinobi, Streets of Rage, and Virtual Fighter are on track to receive new entries in the relatively near future. As such, it's possible that misguided Sega want to clean up their digital offerings to avoid confusion between the old games and new games. No, that's bullshit. No, you can't be confused with that. You can see with your eyes that they're completely different from one another, visually and everything. No, it's the fact is that they also want to resell these games to you. And by reselling them, they're also going to, with this new version of these games, they're going to go and remaster them, maybe even remake them, and they're going to do a lot of changes to these games, and they're going to mark it up at a higher price than the prices that they currently have with the classics, which you can get good deals on. That's what this is all about. It's all about the money. That's what it's all about. Furthermore, there's also a chance that Sega may be preparing for a new collection for these games and want new players to be presented with that as a main option to play their classics instead of individual releases or decade and to have old Sega classic collections. As I said before, they want to resell them to you or whatever. The problem is, will it be one-to-one? Will it still be the traditional games, or will these classics have some changes and edits done to them? And that's what people are afraid of, especially the hardcore old school gamers. Ultimately, whatever the reason, retro fans should be sure to get their hands on these iconic classics before they're going. And yes, I'm gonna say the same thing to my audience as well. Go out and get these classic games. If you have yet to experience these games, go out and get them now. As I said before, we don't know what Sega has plans. Now, if those of you who already got the digital games, then you're good to go. You're still fine. You're still able to preserve them. But for those who haven't got a chance to be able to play them or haven't bought them, get up off your lazy ass and go get those games right away. Because as I said before, it's all about money, and they want to be able to control how they deliver these games. And as I said before, what's going on with this culture war and the way the industry is going, a lot of people are afraid is that if they do remaster or they re-release these bundles, will these games still be the same games of the past, or will they go in and change a lot of things? Which I said, they create a revisionist history. They're taking these older games and then they put in modern standards on them. And I think that's going to piss a lot of fans off. But I definitely want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you have any of those games that were listed that Sega is delisting from virtual storefronts? And what does this say about the digital era that is inevitable that we're about to embark on? So if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe button for more gaming content here on this channel. This is Mugen Lord signing off. I'll see you Game Fiends later. Peace out.